Hello and welcome to Talking Good Gamers, the match preview. West Ham United against Crystal Palace at the London Stadium, 5:30 kickoff on Saturday evening. As always, Gonzo, may I get your thoughts on the Eagles, please?
You certainly can. Well, Roy Hodgson is doing an amazing job when you consider that they've actually lost their best player, arguably their best player, in Wan-Bissaka. Didn't replace him, but he's marched onwards and upwards. So you would probably think they were happy Eagles, but not so much. Actually, Gio, I've got to say, my best mate is a Palace fan, as many regular watchers will know, and he's joining us for the game on Saturday. He's not very happy. He went to the last game, and which saw him flying high, and they beat Norwich. But he says they don't attack very much. Apparently, Zaha's not playing he's playing wider than he used to. He apparently had a freer role than before. Now he's stuck very wide and not getting involved much. He said they don't shoot much. The trio in midfield, which Kiate, your former favourite, Mija Miljevic and MacArthur, they're just a bit brutish, just stoppers, tackling, not a lot of creativity. He's not happy with Ayew up front. He's not very happy, and you can sort of understand it in many ways, because we've been there before when you sort of get established in the Premier League and you want a little bit more and a little bit better football. But from an outsider's point of view, Gio, they're going really well.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on Crystal Palace, please?
I think they're all right. As Gonzo alluded to, they've had quite a good start, and I like Roy Hodgson as a manager, despite a lot of English people's opinions on him. I quite like him. I think he's got a very functional team that he's built. They sort of have their two flair players in Zaha and Townsend, but apart from that, they're very, very functional in what they do. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I like quite a few of their players. There are people there who I think are actually genuinely good. Everyone knows about Zaha, but I think there's a couple of players who are genuinely good. And then they also just have the sort of players where I just sort of like them from afar forever. And that's someone like Jordan Ayew, for example, I think is quite good. But yeah, they're an all right team, and they've started really well. And I expect them to finish comfortably mid-table.
I had them down as sort of relegation contenders, if you like. And I think even though it's only 7 games into the season, they're looking like they're going to be comfortable again. And I think Charlie sums up well with the word functional. And that's why I don't like Roy Hodgson, because he is just that. He gets the best out of the players he's got, but it's the players he acquires that I sort of sympathise with Gonzo's friend. It is just a little bit boring. It's almost like they've got the ethos of surviving every season in the Premier League is good. And it is for a while. But after a while, it starts to get a bit, well, what's the point in being in the Premier League if all you're going to do is scrape through? There's got to be something to aim for. You've got to have a little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to shoot for. And if I was a Palace fan, I'd be wondering what that is at the minute. We at West Ham fans can see something brewing. We can see something getting moulded. But when you look at Palace, I'm not sure there is anything. It's almost like a cheap Bournemouth. Bournemouth buy British, but they tend to buy young, exciting, good players. And Palace seem to buy the sort of the British that are sort of like they didn't quite make it, or they're broken down a little bit, or they're a little bit older or something, and it's sort of like a cheap Bournemouth team they've got going on there. But Gonzo, what's, as a neutral, not your friend's opinion, your opinion, what's the aim for Crystal Palace this season then?
I think Steve Parish, their chairman, will be thinking that it's absolutely marvellous that they've got 50 million for Wan-Bissaka. They've held on to Wilfried Zaha, and the fact that they can stay up and pick up another year's television money, which is probably what it's all about. So which every year the Premier League gets richer and richer, and it insulates, if you want, those clubs from dropping through the trapdoor to the Championship. So every season they do that is a success. And what's it been, 5-6 seasons now for Crystal Palace? That's really good for a club of that size. Even more of a yo-yo club than West Ham traditionally, of course. From an outsider's point of view, you have to say they're doing really, really well, and they're exceeding their expectations and exceeding their ambitions. And to answer your question, this is a good season for Crystal Palace. If Crystal Palace can finish inside the top 10, it's a magnificent season.
Charlie, when have they got to sort of look to step up a level? Me and Gonzo have sort of hinted that they should be looking to do that already, or maybe they should have been doing it already. But you've sort of alluded that actually what they're doing at the minute is okay/good. But when is it realistic as a Palace fan? Say, right, enough's enough. We now need to either challenge for a cup or look to get into the top 10 or play better football, whatever it may be. But when's it got to change?
I think the truth is that the reason I think this is all right for them is because they did already try that. They tried that when they got in the guy whose name is now eluding me. Right, yeah, and it just didn't go well for them because they went they went too far in one direction. Right, they went from one side of really defensive football to going completely the other way, and it just didn't work out for them. It never was going to, because it's such an insane change to make in such a small space of time. So when you think about it in those terms, I think Roy Hodgson is there really to sort of steady the ship and build a nice sort of base for someone else to come along and, or maybe him, I'm not going to say he can't necessarily be that guy, but for someone to come along and take them to that next level, like you're alluding to. And the next level for them would be, as you say, sort of where we are really, looking for a top 10 finish and looking for good cup runs. If that's not, the thing is they're in a perpetual state now where Wilfried Zaha is going to leave. At some point, he just will. If he is half as good as everyone thinks he is, then he will leave. I'm surprised he didn't leave this summer. He will leave at the end of next summer. And that's when you look at it and you say, okay, the manager we have at that section is the person we're going to have to give these funds to really develop this squad and to push us forward. Because right now, like you say, it's a functional team who all play their roles very well, but are never going to be exceptional at it apart from that one guy. So once he leaves, they're going to have to get in these names. And that's when it becomes the time to do it. So next summer, realistically, if he leaves, because if he leaves after next summer, I can't see him going for that much money either, if I'm being honest. So whether they stick or twist this summer will be the thing, but I think Gonzo's right. It's all just about the chairman. How long he sticks it out is really how long he decides this is fine for us. But I think Palace fans, I wouldn't begrudge them saying they should have it already, to be honest, because that's what we want as fans. Why not?
Charlie, players you admire the most from Crystal Palace ahead of Saturday's game, please.
I've already said Jordan Ayew. I do actually like him. He was very cheap for them, and I think he was probably slightly less than he's worth. But I do think he is good for a decent amount of goals, especially for the price they got him for. Gonzo was mentioning how Zaha is playing out wide, and that's because he was basically playing as their striker last year, whereas now he's sort of back to his normal left wing position because they've actually brought one in, and they don't have to rely on the goalless Christian Benteke. Zaha is obviously a danger. He's not quite hit the ground running yet this year, but he sort of at least is there, and he's never not a danger. He's had a couple of games where he's been all right at least. Townsend has got his first of his customary 5 worldies this year, so I'm not really too concerned about him. And really, you look at it, and that's the only players they really have because they're the only ones that really go out and attack, to be honest.
Gonzo, the players you admire in a Crystal Palace shirt?
Yeah, just before I do, just on Zaha, he is magnificent. He is a brilliant player. He's full of talent, but he'll never be worth as much to a buying club as he's worth to Crystal Palace, because he's worth to Crystal Palace is £150 million a season. So, I mean, if he stays there for 3 seasons, you can do the maths yourself. Nobody's going to bid the 70-80 million that they want for him. So there's your problem with Zaha, who clearly is a danger man. It's not just all about danger men, it's about functional players. Van Aanholt is very quick down that left side, very good player. Gary Cahill they brought in on a free transfer, who's a fantastic player, really good, and the fans are very, very happy with him. They like their captain Milivojevic, who scores a wonderful penalty when it's a set play for them. It's almost like a gridiron play. Zaha dives, wins the penalty. Milivojevic scores the pen. Schlupp is playing quite well for him. Again, he's an athletic player, quite a functional player as well. Not a lot of fantasy in their team, I'm afraid, mate. And those are the players that I would pick out.
Well, their captain, Milivojevic, or how he pronounces his name, the guy with lots of consonants, a good Scrabble name, is suspended for Saturday. So if you're watching this, he's not playing. He picked up his 5th yellow card of the season already in the weekend pass. So he's missing this weekend, so I imagine we'll see a midfield 3 of MacArthur, Kiate and Schlupp up against our midfield on Saturday.
What about McCarthy?
He's probably on the bench, and you probably come on and crunch someone in the last 15 minutes. Annoy everyone. I think Gary Cahill's been one of the best signings this season, actually. Do you know when he left Chelsea, I did think, I don't want him at West Ham. Don't want him at West Ham. No thank you. Exactly the type of player we do not want at West Ham. And I still think that was right because of the players we have at our disposal. However, he's really impressed me at Crystal Palace. And if you were to do the sort of like the team of the season so far, Gareth Cahill's a contender for one of the centre-back positions. He's done really, really well there. I don't rate Jordan Ayew like Charlie does. I think he's part of the reason I tipped them to get relegated, actually. I just think he's poor. Every time I watch him, he works hard and stuff, but I've seen him miss some shockers. Every season you were to do like a miss of the season highlights, I bet you Jordan Ayew features in all of them that he's been in the Premier League, because I don't know, I just don't think he's a great player. Townsend's a danger. Zaha's one of the best players outside the top six. He's the obvious one, but Cahill's one that's impressed me the most. Now on to West Ham, but before we do that, on Saturday is a home game, which means boats, and you can get your tickets. The link is in the description below. We're open from 1:30, so they're open for 4 hours before the game. So you come have a beer, a barbecue, a bit of music, and them two are thinking about the beer in 4 hours of drinking already. And then we're open after the game as well for some more beer, some more barbecue, some more music. So you can get your tickets and join us on the boats on Saturday. Where it asks for your photo ID, just put your surname in the initial of your first name and it'll work. Don't worry about it. Just whack that in, because that's what we get asked the most. What's my photo ID? Just put your surname in. Charlie. Well, team news for everybody. First of all, Lanzini is fit. Obviously, he played last weekend. He's a bit fitter. Jack Wilshere is also fit enough. I think that's how Pellegrini was trying to word it in his press conference earlier. He's not 100%, but he's fit enough after a scare. And obviously, Fabianski is out for 2 to 3 months, which means Roberto is in goal. And what's your thoughts on that, please, Charlie?
I want to give him a chance.
Well, you don't really have a choice, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, kind of, yeah. We could play David Martin. We could play one of the kids. I mean, we always have a choice in these things. But I think he's not. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've enjoyed watching him play, because I haven't. But ultimately, I remember when Darren Randolph came in. Darren Randolph was shocking when he first played as well, and then went on to be a very, very reliable keeper for us for the short time he was with us. And so I feel like we may be rushing to judge him too soon. But having said that, I've seen nothing which really suggests that I'm super comfortable with him in goal. But at the same time, he's the one I would choose. He's the one I would give a shot. And he knows as much as anyone else, this is a huge opportunity for him right now. We're going into an international break. If he puts his stamp down, then there's going to be literally no questions about it once we come back. And he knows that more than anyone else. And he will be told that continuously, I suspect, by the management. So I expect this to be, if he's ever going to do it, I suspect this would be the time against a team that don't create a huge amount, that are a bit shot shy. He's going to have to step up and do some things. And so we'll see what happens. But I feel like we might judge him a bit too early right now. But after the next game, there's going to be literally no excuses. If he pulls out another poor performance, then it's just going to be to the wolves, really.
Same question for you both. I'll come to yourself first, Charlie. Just a yes or no answer for this one quickly. Is the only other decision in the team a case of Fornals or Lanzini?
Yes.
Gonzo?
Yes.
Yes for me as well. And Gonzo, who would you like to see start out of those two?
Oh, Lanzini, of course. Yeah, Lanzini.
Do you not think Fornals has done enough to warrant another opportunity?
Well, he's not done enough to show he's better than Lanzini. No, that's for sure. I thought it was promise. He showed he was improving and some steady improvement, but that's fine. He played back-to-back games, which is good for him in that sense. I'm sure he'll come off the bench and have more confidence. But Lanzini, as I know you think as well, is our best player, and it's not like Lanzini would have been out for a long time. Also thought he gave us a good bounce when he came onto the pitch against Bournemouth as well. He has to start.
Charlie, do you agree with that, or would you be keeping Fornals in?
I would actually keep Fornals in. For a couple of reasons. I think he needs as much game time as possible, especially in that position, because that's his position in the squad, in the team. When he plays, he should be playing centrally in that role. He shouldn't be playing out wide. That's just not his game. And I also fear that if we were to bring him on as a sub, it would be to go out wide, because we seem to sub those wide players quite a lot in a lot of times, especially if we're in the lead. And I don't want to see him playing in those positions, whereas I actually have confidence in Lanzini playing out wide to an extent. So I would much prefer to see Fornals starting this game as opposed to Lanzini.
I would go with Lanzini as well. It's not. I feel harsh actually. I was actually thinking, is there a way we could play them both? Is there a way? And you can't drop Yarmolenko. Anderson sort of starts by default every game, and then there's just no way you can drop Noble and put someone in there. It's just too weak against this Crystal Palace team, because while they might be lacking flair, they're not lacking hard tackles, they're not lacking graft, so you do not want to weaken that midfield three. But it's just Lanzini because of how good he is. He's also got a really good record against Crystal Palace and London clubs in general. Crystal Palace players that have been there for a while, like Ward, will be looking at that thinking, oh no, not Lanzini again, bloody hell, we don't want him running at us. And we've got an opportunity where they're missing their Declan Rice, if you like. We've got an opportunity in the middle of the pitch where we might have more room against Crystal Palace in that area that the teams so far this season haven't had, and whoever Crystal Palace is up against after the international break won't have. We've got like a window of opportunity here, in the sense that he's suspended. Their best player in defensive midfield is suspended. Take advantage of it. And I think Lanzini's got to be the man to do that. And it's a shame for Fornals, because I do think he was getting better. And you say about Roberto, this could be the right game for Roberto. I think it could be the right game for Fornals as well. But it's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. And Lanzini's the guy that it's his shirt. It wasn't there to be won, in my opinion. Gonzo, is this a game we have to win if we are serious about breaking into the top six? Because at the start of the season, while we dismissed it a little bit, you've got to look at the league table, you've got to look at Man United. Even tonight, Thursday night, they've just drawn in Europa League. They look really bad in that game as well, apparently. There's West Ham fans and Leicester fans and other clubs as well have got to be sniffing a little bit of an opportunity to get into that top six. Is this where West Ham have to say we're in the mix?
Yeah, but by default, in as much as I think if we take 4 points from our next two games, then I think even cynical me has to start taking it a little bit seriously. And I would imagine the easiest way to get those 4 points would be 3 points against Crystal Palace and a point against Everton. It's Everton after, right? Yeah. So I think so. So if that's what we want to do, it's a must-win. And also, don't forget the teams are, while everybody gets a little bit hung up on league position, and whilst we might be technically fifth or whatever, I think they're only a point behind Palace. There's a lot of teams in and around on a similar number of points. I think it's quite important for us to show actually we're more than a point better than them. So it starts. You get towards Christmas, and I always say don't look at the league too much until 10 games in, and you sort of get towards that thing. So it starts to stretch out a little bit the league table. So yeah, very, very important that we win it.
Charlie, who's our key man on Saturday?
Probably the fullbacks. I think all three of us have mentioned Palace's wide players, and I think that's where they carry their main goal threat and their main threat in general. They're obviously, like you say, going to battle very hard in midfield, and that is where Rice and Noble will do their thing. But fullback-wise, if we get a game where they are on point, as they have been recently, then I'm more than confident that we can deal with what they have. And if they're not, then we could be in problems, because as much as Zaha hasn't hit the heights as he did last year yet, all it takes is for him to get in behind, and then you're giving him an opportunity to hit those heights, and that's not something we should be looking to do anytime soon.
Gonzo, key man?
I think it may well be Haller for this one, because Crystal Palace are going to come to get a draw, because they've far exceeded their expectations. They're going to come to shut up shop, and we're not going to have those opportunities to counter-attack that we like. I think they're going to sit back for much of the game, and they're going to be saying, look, come on, break us down. We're going to see, well, we're not going to see two banks of four. We're going to see a bank of four. We're going to see a bank of five, and sometimes Ayew is going to drag back and make that a bank of six and a bank of four. They're going to be saying to us, look, you break us down, you come up with something creatively. And I think there'll be some long shots, and I think we will try and pass our way through. But for some reason, I actually think we might actually revert to crosses or set pieces or corners at some point, and it may well come down to a congested penalty area and one chance and a sort of fox in a box snipers type finish from close range. So it might be a header from Haller.
Funny enough, for the reasons that Gonzo's given, is why I'm going for Yarmolenko, because I too think it might come to long shots, and I too think it might come to was, I think Gonzo just worded it as a sniper in the box, and that's what Yarmolenko is. Give him half a chance and he'll take it. He'll take the shot, and he might only make half the right contact, but if it's goal bound, you just never know. So it's Yarmolenko for me. Gonzo, are you confident for this one?
Yeah, very much so. I think they're going to have a paucity of ambition when they come, for all the reasons that I said, and it's not to damn them with faint praise. I think Hodgson's done really well. Hodgson's a pragmatist. Hodgson has that not quite the Big Sam ethos, respect the point, starting at the season. I think he's clever enough to know that you don't want to really risk it with just 38 points. But bearing in mind the points tally that they're on, actually a point away to West Ham when they're set on as many as they are is a damn good result for them. And they'll be coming to get that. And I don't think they'll be having a lot of shots on our goal. So yeah, we won't be. We'll be having lots of shots. We'll be having lots of attacks. So you have to be confident, and we're quite good at home as well.
Charlie, are you confident?
To an extent, I think for the same reasons. I think the fact that they do come and will probably sit deep and look for us to be the attacking force is why I'm slightly less so, because historically under Pellegrini, those are teams we've struggled against most. I think we've got all of the tools to actually do it. I'm not confident. I'm not scared that we're going to lose in that sense. I'm not scared they're going to beat us 4-0 or something crazy like that, but I am scared that we're going to struggle to break them down to a point. And then that would mean at the end of the season, we might be looking at this as 2 points dropped. Because if we're looking to finish as high as we hope to, these are the sort of games we just have to be winning, the sort of bread and butter ones where they're not carrying a huge attacking threat and we know what they're going to do. So I'm hopeful, but I wouldn't say I'm super confident of getting 3 points.
I think this is a reasonably big game, actually. I think this is one that the international break's right after it, so it can be a bit annoying if we win. It would be a bit annoying, but you're going to the Everton one thinking, fancy this year, they've been on a bit of shaky ground. Then we follow up with Sheffield United, then we follow up with Newcastle United, and both of those games are at home, and suddenly you've got 3 really winnable fixtures after this one on the horizon as well. So you've got to be thinking, if we win here and create that little bit of momentum, and it gives 1 or 2 players in the starting 11 that needs an injection of confidence, that injection, you fancy it. The one thing I'm hoping is going to be key here, Roberto has now had a week in training with that defence. Before every other league game, in training, Fabianski would have been playing with Diop and Ogbonna in defence. He would have been putting Allier up against them with Fabianski and the sticks behind them. Now we've had a week of training where Roberto's actually in behind Diop and Ogbonna. You've got to hope that is, we're going to see the benefits of that on Saturday. We're going to hopefully see a more confident Roberto when the crosses are coming. We're hopefully going to see a better understanding as to when the keeper is going to come and when the keeper is not going to come between the defence and the keeper. And I'm hoping to see that. I think it'll be a hard one, this one. I do think this will be a really hard game. I think it'll be a bigger test than it was against Bournemouth in terms of can you score. I think it'll be a bigger test than it was against Man United, actually. I was more confident for facing Man United than I am facing Crystal Palace, which is perhaps a bit mad. I've written down my score predictions for Gonzo and Charlie. I often say I get a bit of a vibe, so I'm going to put down. Now, for you that don't know, no one will know this. They don't see me the way you see me at home. They see me through my laptop, which is on my side here. So I'm going to hold a bit of paper up to the screen, and they're not going to know what's written on it. So this is
Love it.
This is where it gets a little bit fun. Charlie, I'll come to yourself first. Can I get your score prediction, please?
I'm going to say 2-0 West Ham. I feel like it's going to be a very, very hard fought 2-0, but I just think, like you say, a Yarmolenko long shot and a Haller wonder goal, and then all of a sudden we win 2-0. So I'm going to say 2.
Gonzo, can I get your score prediction, please?
Yeah, I'm not trying to be tricksy because you've done this. I was going to say this anyway. I think we're going to win 3-0.
Well, you see, I've got one of these close. I said Gonzo 2-0 and I said Charlie 1-1. I wasn't feeling that much positivity from Charlie there. I'm going to say 1-0 West Ham. I think it's going to be a very, very hard fought game. I think this is going to be a bit of a grind out from West Ham. I think we're going to have to see a different West Ham than what we want to see in terms of flair and stuff. But anyway, you guys at home, let us know who you would like to see start. Really, you've only got the option of the attacking midfielder, Lanzini or Fornals, or a half-injured Jack Wiltshire, perhaps you might want to see instead. Give us your score predictions below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Get your tickets for the boats. Myself and Gonzo and Charlie will all be there on Saturday, so come and join us for a beer and a barbecue. You see then, that's been Gonzo, that's been Charlie, been Gio, and we'll be back on Saturday night with our review and a few fan cams as well. Catch you in a bit. Thank you for joining us.